Says orientation is locked, which is not true.
I found an old picture on my phone of Zal back about a year ago. They changed out the layout a lot. I didn't even remember it.
How long ago?
A year ago.
Now?
No.
Yeah, I was here in January for 3 weeks.
I remember being different. What was
Okay.
different?
They moved the water thing across the room. They moved the hot water pot to that corner. It used to be by the kitchen. They moved that picture of like.
Oh, that's not the Zal.
That's the dining
That's
room.
the dining room. I'm still waking up.
It's okay. All right.
Okay.
No, I'm just tired.
We learned yesterday the union of Ma'uban, the yichud of Ma'anban. That's the ultimate purpose of creation. Ma is still on the board. It's still there. Ma is a transcendent level of reality. Page 292. 292 in the second column, first paragraph that starts there with Pashtus. The Shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka is the Yichud of Ma, which is Yitzchak, transcendent reality, Neshama, and Rivka, Ban, immanent reality, Guf. So that Shidduch is ultimately expressive of the whole purpose of creation, which is to bring a revelation of transcendent godly reality down into Elam Hazeh. So for that reason, we saw that Avraham Avinu was willing to give Hakol, give everything he has, in order to make that shidduch happen. Ubapashtus. Simply. Rivka is a Mitsuya Bapadan Aram. Rivka was found in Padan Aram, B'chutz La'aretz. Where'd she live? Etzel Besuel, Aromi. By Besuel, her father. The Lavan Aromi. And Lavan, her brother, who we find out about later is a creep deraisa. K'shoshana bein ha'chaychim, like the rose amongst the thorns. Bechinas ban, she's ban. V'shlichusa shel Eliezer, and the shlichus of Eliezer, his bata bekach, was expressed. She'olav lahitzia misham ulavia liyos isha liyitzchok, to take her out of there and bring her to a place where she could be the wife of Yitzchok. Oy l'tmima, who's Yitzchok? He's no l'tmima. Yitzchok is so holy, he can't leave Eretz Yisrael. Right? Avram left, Yaakov left. Yitzchak wasn't allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael because he was in such a state of holiness. Bechinas ma, a transcendent state of godly reality. Ba'ifin shebahayu levaser echad, bring them such that they should be one flesh. Ma'uban, the ultimate unity of Ma'anban. Sheyivnu bayis b'Yisrael be'elam hazeh gashmi, that they should build a Jewish home in Elam Hazeh. In Elam Hazeh Gashmi. Kasher Tachlisi, the ultimate purpose of that house, Lohili Toldos, to give birth to generations, Kipshutam, simply, children. Vagam told the same Shel Tzadikim Maisatevim and all Maisatevim, and also, of course, on a Pnimis level, we say that the offspring of Tzadikim are the good deeds that they do. So in Gashmius and in Ruchnius, they were supposed to make Toldos. Shemehem Baim Kol Yisrael, let's say Kol Adaris, and that'll be the source of the Jewish people until the end of all generations. Valpizeh Muvan, based on this, it's understood. Shashlicha Shel Eliezer, this shlichus of Eliezer, Hashlicha Rishena Ksuva B'Torah, this is the first shlichus that's written in the Torah. Nosna es hakayach, gives the power, lifol es aveda shel yichud ma'uban, b'avedas Hashem, is ultimately that which is giving the power to all of the generations of the Jews thereafter to bring about a yichud of ma'an ban, transcendent and immanent reality, b'avedas Hashem. Hachel b'matan Torah. This began with Matan Torah, as we said earlier. Matan Torah was the bittul of the gezerah, that the upper realms won't go down to the lower realms, and the lower realms won't go up to the upper realms. In other words, there'll be some sort of nituk, separation between physical and spiritual reality, and physicality can't be imbued with spirituality, with godliness. That's not true after Matan Torah. That's the chiddush of Matan Torah. When does that all start? It starts with the shlichus of Eliezer, bringing about a yichud of Man Ban, Rivka and Yitzchak and Rivka. Umisham, from Matan Torah, there. Nimshach, b'chol zmanim, it's drawn into all of time. B'chol mekaymis, all place. Ba'ad shleimus b'zeh b'gula mitzvahs v'shleim, until ultimately it'll be realized to be Immerse Mashiach, the complete and true redemption. V'yesh leimer, sha'shlichus hakloli she'Eliezer, this basic shlichus of Eliezer, the shlichus which is the general shlichus that is the source of all shlichus that happens afterwards. Mirumezis, Gamkein, in that it's also hinted, B'masha Amar Eved Avram Anechi. When Eliezer is asked who he is, he doesn't say, my name is Eliezer ben, whatever his father's name. He doesn't say, I'm Eliezer, and he gives a last name. He says, Eved Avram Anechi. I'm an Eved Avram Avinu. That's who I am. That's my Metzias. Yedua. It's known. Shemi Avram Hechola Achona Lamatan Torah. This is brought in Chassidus over and over. The Rebbe talks about it at great length in Sichas. You can see it says Rei Sichas, Shabbos Pashas Lech L'chol. But Bechlal, just constantly, when the Rebbe talks about Avram Avinu is all about the beginning of the preparation for Matan Torah. That's what Avram Avinu begins. That's what Avram Avinu is about. She'av mechila achana l'Matan Torah. This is what Eliezer means when he says Eved Avram Anechi. Should be Yosei Eved Avram. By virtue of the fact that he's an Eved of Avram, completely bottled Avram Avinu. Yesh Eliezer hakayach lifol as a yichud shel ma'uba. What gives Eliezer the kayach to bring about what it is that he's bringing about? His kayachis? No. Avram Avinu's kayachis. The fact that he's an Eved Avram. He's going to be a shaliach of Avram also. Right? That's what gives him the koyach to bring about this unity of man ban, the Suri Yitzhak v'Rivka. Gam, the ikar, this also, and this is the most important point, kahachona, this is ultimately all a preparation, la tavdunas elokim al harazeh, you should serve God on this mountain, which is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu at the sneh, that Moshe asked, how do Am Yisrael deserve to get out of Eretz Mitzrayim? And the Eibishter answers, well, they're going to accept the Torah on this mountain. So the ultimate preparation is beginning with Eliezer going to find a wife for Yitzchak. It all begins with this story. We still have to understand more deeply the whole union of Shlichus. Al Pia Omer, based on what we said earlier, Sha'arichus b'Torah. The fact that the Torah spends a whole parsha, such great length, it actually goes through the whole story twice, regarding the marriage of Yitzhak and Rivka, because their marriage expresses this basic idea, shel yichud ma'uban, right? That's what we learned up until now in the last couple of Osias. So therefore, the ultimate lengthy discussion of this should have been be'etzem shidduch, in the actual shidduch of Yitzhak and Rivka. Eliezer Pa'al. Right? Now, there's very little about the shidduch. It says that they came home, Rivka fell off the camel. Right? And why did Rivka fall off the camel? It's famous why Rivka fell off the camel. Why'd she fall off the camel?
Wasn't she like enchanted with Yitzhak?
So what was Yitzhak doing when she fell off the camel?
Praying.
Oh, praying mincha. You fat. So it was the afternoon. Who established Tfilas mincha? Yitzchak. There wasn't such a thing until Yitzchak. Oh, so what did she think? So she came from a family of misnagdim. So he was davening at 4 in the afternoon. She thought, oh my gosh, he's davening at 4 in the afternoon. She fell off the horse. What kind of shidduch did you give me here? He's davening at 4 in the afternoon. She thought it was shabbos. Who ever heard of mincha? And then she found out it was mincha. Oh, she felt better. Because by loving and basul, they were ever davening after 7:30, 8 o'clock. That was it. God goes to sleep at 8 in the morning. You better get your chakras in early. Right? Okay. So what do we hear about in the parsha? We don't hear about the shidduch. Just the last few lines at the end. The whole story. Yitzhak took her into Sara's tent, and he was comforted for the loss of his mother, because all the miracles that used to happen in the time of Sara began again once Rivka came, and that's it. So that's what we hear about the actual shidduch. We hear a whole parsha about the preparation for the shidduch. I mean, I assume the ikar is Ma'uban, isn't it? The yichud of Ma'uban, but the actual yichud of Ma'uban, a few psukim at the end. The preparation for the yichud of Ma'uban, the whole parsha. So why is that, the Rebbe asks? V'loi, what we should have been talking about the shidduch itself, v'loi b'shlichusei pulasa shel Eliezer, and not necessarily the shlichus and the actions of Eliezer, kahachona leyichud ma'uban, which is a preparation for the yichud of ma'uban, but not the actual yichud. Madua maricha Torah b'shlichus atzma. Why does the Torah take such a long time explaining the shlichus itself? You say Eliezer went to Padanot, he found a girl, brought her back to Yitzhak, and they lived happily ever after, and then talk about Yitzhak and Rivka. Madu maricha Torah b'shlichus atzma, ech she'Avram hishbi'ei, how Avram made him take an oath, v'tzivo es kol haprotim la'an yelach, and he told him all the details to where to go, v'ketzad Eliezer kiyam es shlichus b'feil, and how Eliezer fulfilled the shlichus b'feil. Now it's very interesting. Avram did tell him where to go, but what did Avram not tell him? Didn't tell him how to do it at all. Just said, go over there and get a wife for Yitzhak. And he left. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I don't think this thing is working. I'm saying orientation, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. Oh, what a jerk. Someone put up some message here about the Jew who went off, started a religion. Nebuch. I don't understand why the orientation is locked. It's not. I don't get it. Well, I guess it's on because that guy's putting up his messages. It'll be that way. I don't know what it's doing. Okay. So that's our question. Why is it the Rebbe asks that the whole parsha is about the shlichus and not about the shidduch? Mizeh gufa muvan, from this itself it's understood. Sheshlichusa shel Eliezer negas la'etzem me'inyan shel yichud ma'uban. That the shlichus of Eliezer touches the etzem inyan of the yichud of ma'uban, shehu pa'al, that he brought about. It's dafka from the shlichus that we have to learn. And that's why this Sichas is so important to learn. So Rabbi explains the shlichus. V'yesh leimer echad biurim b'zeh. One could say one of the explanations of this. Now, whenever you see that, it means there's no footnote because the biur is here. V'al pizeh yuvan hatam apnimi, and from this we'll understand the inner reason. Madu Eliezer dafka shaliach v'le shadchan. Why it was a shaliach and not a shadchan, as we saw yesterday. Shechein, kedei lifol es aveda, in order to bring about this aveda, v'amshocha, and the drawing down of yichud ma'uban, tzarich liyos kach gam etzel adam shepeil zos. There has to be also by the person who's bringing this about, meaning the shaliach. It's very important, and this is what I was going to explain. Shia metzias bifnei atzmei, that he's going to be in existence mitzad himself. Ban, umetzias zu, and this existence, tisbatel v'tisached, will be bottled and will unite ima mishaleach, ma. Shezeu inyan shel shaliach dafka. That's a shaliach. Meaning, what's the tafkid? The Rebbe's going to explain all this. What's the tafkid of a shaliach? To be miyached ma'uban. We're all sent down into Elam Hazeh to bring about a unity of ma'uban. How do we do that? By being ourselves an expression of that unity. Mitzad echad, I exist, I'm a ban. Mitzad sheni, I'm completely bottled to the Eibishter. Ma. Meaning if we were all just completely bottled, so then that would be ma. There'd be no ban. If we're all just completely into our own inyanim, so then that's all ban. There's no ma. What has to be? A yichud of man ban. What's the yichud of man ban? Mitzad echad, I exist, and am very powerfully aware of my own existence and experience my own existence. That's ban. Mitzad sheni, that existence is used in order to express the ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the agenda of HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a shaliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's ban. That's ma. So let's see how that plays out. Eliezer. Shaliach murkav mishnei inyanim hafuchim. A shaliach is composed of two opposite realities. A lovely is mitzias nifredes miyamishaleach. He has to be a separate existence from the one who sent him. Bardas bifnei atzmei, someone with his own intellect, his own understanding of reality, his own creativity, etc. Base, a lovely is bottle l'mishaleach. He has to be completely bottled to the mishaleach. Lahakir, to realize shuhu shaliach shalei, that he's a shaliach, v'loy l'shones miratzon v'dasa mishaleach, and not to change from the will or the understanding of the Mishaleach. Ve'im hu mishana midas ha-Mishaleach, and if he were to change anything from the understanding of the Mishaleach, hu chadal shaliach, he's no longer a shaliach. That doesn't mean he's not doing good things. What will we call him, perhaps? Based on this sicha. Shadchan, yafeh. Well said. Shadchan. He's a shadchan. If someone goes out on shlichus and changes the basic desire of the mishaleach relative to anything in that shlichus, so then he's no longer shliach. Doesn't mean he's not doing good things. He's just a shadchan. He's not a shliach. Why? Because he's doing it all mitzad his own ban. He's doing it all mitzad his own intellect, his own creativity, his own understanding as to what should happen. Which is good. He's supposed to use that, but he's supposed to use that in the context as completely bottled to the mishaleach. That's the ma of it. The shaliach is in two places at once. Mitzad echad, the shaliach has to use his own creativity to do whatever has to be done. Mitzad sheni, he has to do that within the context of the ratzon of the mishaleach and not veer from that ratzon ki huzeh. So if the Mishaleach has certain rules as to what's supposed to happen, so then he can't veer from those rules, even though it mitzad his own seichel, which exists, and he has to use in his shlichus, mitzad his own seichel, he'll come to the conclusion that really this idea, it's better to do it this way than that way. Well, okay, that's a great idea, it just doesn't happen to be the das of the Mishaleach. It's not what he wants. It's not how he does things. Oh, so if I'm the Mishaleach of that Mishaleach, I have to do what the Mishaleach says. Right? Even if it doesn't make sense to me. You said it, mitzad my own das. Right? I have my own das. He has to have his own das. How can he possibly do what he does without having his own das? Right? To put it in concrete terms, the Rebbe says, go open a Chabad house. How? Well, figure it out. Right? I didn't tell anybody how to do things. We said, go do it. How are you going to figure it out? Yeah, but seichel, don't you? You have seichel. You have friends. You have a telephone, make some calls, figure it out. But it has to be within the context of particular rules that go for the people who work for this organization. And those are the rules. And there's no other rules. Right? You can't change the rules. Because where do the rules come from? From Mishalech. If I change the rules, I'm a shadchan. Doesn't mean I'm not doing good things. Right? There was a famous shaliach of the Rebbe. I'm not going to say names. I'm not saying anything bad about him. Famous shaliach of the Rebbe. I'm not going to say names. But who was a shaliach? Early shaliach. Right? And decided that something important had to happen in the town he was in. And it involved doing a lot of things, without necessarily mechitzas and things like that. Not davening. Not davening, but, he decided that the single most important thing was to get Jews to marry Jews. The way he was going to do that was to throw big parties for Jews. Okay. Fine. Good idea, not a good idea, but what's the first thing he did? He said, there will be no mention of Chabad whatsoever in this organization because I'm not necessarily doing this in the oifen that the Rebbe wants it done in a Beis Chabad, so I can't call this a Beis Chabad. It's not a Beis Chabad. Something else.
Wow.
Right? He didn't leave Lubavitch. He just said, I can't necessarily be sure that this is what the Rebbe wants me to do, so I'm not going to do it under the name of Chabad because that's not what it is. Okay, Manyen. So mitzad echad, he said, I'm going to do something that is, somewhat unique and different. Mitzad sheni, so I can't say that I'm now a shaliach. I'm going to be a shadchan. But he made that decision, and that's an honest decision. Right, wrong, that's a separate issue. That's irrelevant. Right? God makes those decisions. Right? But he whatever he did it the right way by saying, okay, it's not the Lubavitch. Why not? Because this isn't the way Lubavitch does things. This isn't the way the Rebbe does things. So I can't be doing this under that name. Which is a very important thing for shulchan in general to know. So mitzad echad, he's a ban. Mitzad sheni, he's a ma. Oh, the shliach himself is an expression of the yichud of ma and ban. That's what a shliach is. He's using his own keiches to be, but he's in the context of being completely bottled to the mishalech. Unbelievable. So that's this is Rabbi's talking to the shluchim. Who chadal shliach. He stops being a shliach if he moves ki huzeh from the desire of the shliach. I think I probably told you this, but it's all right. When I came back from Las Vegas, when I was in Las Vegas, I was talking to the other Rabbi, the first shliach. I was talking to the Rabbi Harlig himself, I think the father. So the first shliach in Las Vegas is Rabbi Harlig. So, Bechlal opening up in Las Vegas was not so clear. Yes, no, terrible place. But in the end, so the Rebbe decided there was something to do, and he's under the umbrella of Chabad of California. Rabbi Kunin is the head shaliach of the whole West Coast, and that includes Nevada. So. Fine. So Rabbi Kunin came out to see what was going on in Las Vegas soon after the shlichus started, and he said something very interesting to me. He said, if you ever see any of my shluchim here, any of the shluchim of the Rebbe in California, in Las Vegas with their wives, you can tell them in my name that they shouldn't go back to their makom shlichus. You're done as a shliach. If Las Vegas is where you go on a holiday, you're not a shaliach. That's what he told them. I mean, you're here because you have to be here. Anybody else comes here, just tell them in my name, Rabbi, can tell them in my name not to go back to where they came from. Don't go home, just keep going, find somewhere else to live. Now, I don't know what happened, but that's a pretty powerful statement. The Rebbe might want there to be a shaliach in Las Vegas, but the Rebbe doesn't want shluchim in Las Vegas. that they should vacation, so to speak, in Las Vegas. Achu Yodea, to such an extent, the shaliach, shu heilech l'malei as a shlichus b'keich zeh, he's going to fulfill the shlichus with the power that the Mishalech appointed him as a shaliach. And the shaliach of a person is like him. Ad k'meisei mamish, like him mamish. Right? So those two stories that seem to be contradictory on a certain level, but they tell the same story ultimately. What that shaliach who went into Rabbi Chadakov, and Rabbi Chadakov told him that the Rebbe wants him to do something. So he said he doesn't think he can do it. So Rabbi Kaplan said, okay, you're fired. He says, why, I'm fired just because I think I can't do it? He said, no, you're not fired because you think you can't do it. You're fired because you think that everything else you did is because you did it and not the Rebbe. Right? Okay, so clearly you're not, you're a shadchan. In the context of this, you're a shadchan, not a shaliach. And if you think it was your keiches. So that's one sort of harsh and drastic expression of the reality on one side. The other was the Rabbi Groner from Australia in Yechidus with the Rebbe, and the Rebbe asked him to do something, and he said to the Rebbe, I don't know whether I can do that in Australia. I don't know whether it's going to work. and the Rebbe said, "You're my shaliach, and I'm with you, and I can." So that's the same story. It's two extremes. It's exactly the same story. That's exactly what the Rebbe is saying here. Where does the shliach get the kayach? From the mishalech. Right? And to the extent that he's bottled to the mishalech, he gets more kayach from the mishalech. Right? So too in macrocosmic terms, the more bottle a person is to the Eibishter, the more kayach they're given by the Eibishter to do what it is that they have to do in Elam Hazeh. Same thing. And this is the content of the unity of Man Ban. Haneshama Man. Shel Yehudi, the neshama of a Yid. Me'uchedes begalui is united in a revealed way. Im HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's man, it's bottle. Neshama shenasat to be tahara. It's tahara. Comes from Matzilus. I mean, obviously above that also. Ad, to such an extent, she chelik elokami mal. It's mamish a piece of elokus. Hashlichus shel Yehudi, the shlichus of a Yid down here in Elam Hazeh. Al Yedei HaKadosh Baruch Hu shalach lamata. By virtue of the fact that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent below us, Nishmasei Begufa Gashmi, he put this neshama into a physical body, Ba'elam Gashmi, in a physical world, Ban. Our whole existence is a yichud of Man Ban. Do I express that in my existence? Okay, that's my Aveda, but the etzem metzias of a Yid is the yichud of Man Ban, the neshama and the goof. You blew it into the goof. So what's the shlichus? Shehu yifal es a yichud shel Man Ban. Should bring about the unity of Man Ban. Shel nishmasa im gufa gashmi, his neshama with his physical body. Shegam kefi neshama nimtzes beguf, that even also as the neshama is found in a body. Shemitzad atzmei, that in terms of itself, ubegolui, and in a revealed way, talking about the goof. Zumetzias. It's an existence. V'yesh, and a state of yesh bifnei atzmei. The body it certainly looks like an independent existence. And what's that? Ha'inin rishon shel shaliach. That's what every shaliach is. A shaliach has to be mitzad echad ban. Has to be his own existence. He has to have seichel. He has to have midas. He has to have creativity. He has to think about things. He has to do things. He has to wonder about things. He has to be alive. He has to be a real person. He's not a robot. And then he's going to get things done. So if he's like that, Ya'ir or neshama, it'll shine in him the light of a neshama. V'guf, he's batal neshama. The goof will be batal neshama. What does that mean? The goof's batal neshama. It ceases to exist. No, it uses all its keches for the expression of what the neshama wants, and that's Tanya that we're in the middle of right now. Eisim nafshem ikar v'gufam tafel. He makes his nefesh ikar and his goof secondary. There's a nefesh, there's a man, a ban, there's a neshama, and there's a goof. Okay, so what? There's no goof. Pretend there's no goof. Well, pretend there's no goof. Shouldn't pretend there's no goof. There is a goof. And what's the goof about? So the goof has all sorts of incredibly powerful keiches. But those keiches have to be used in the context of the ma. Of what's the ma? The neshama. And that's life in Elam Hazeh. And that's being a shaliach. What's a shaliach? A shaliach is a shaliach of the Eibishter sent into Elam Hazeh in order to bring about a revelation of the Eibishter in Elam Hazeh. So each and every one of us is a man ban, is a yichud of man ban. And what's our tafkid? To bring about a yichud of man ban. Ad shaguf and neshama yisachdu, until the guf and the neshama become one. They work in harmony, perfect harmony. Al yedei aveh, so it's not to kill the goof. It's not about killing the goof and beating up the goof and right. It's about elevating the goof. Right? So the goof will be part of the show. Al yedei aveda b'kiyum b'Torah v'mitzvos, through the aveda of performance of Torah mitzvos, shem dafka b'dvarim gashmim, which are in physical things, lahamshich, to draw down, and legalis, and to reveal, es ara kedusha b'gashmi selim, a light of holiness in the gashmis of the world. Kach, such. Everything that a Yid does, it should be recognized the unity of his neshama and his guf. They're not battling each other. So mitzad, on a certain level, that naturally they might battle each other. Meaning the goof is certainly, without any education, without any avodah, the goof is interested in what the goof wants and isn't interested in hearing in yonim from the neshama. Okay, beseder. So that's when there's a period of ma'uban. It's like the world can be a place which is interested in its own things. Right? It's interested in whatever it's interested in. Famous, the favorite word in the world is I, me. Okay, it loves that word, loves using that word, loves talking about myself and me and things that happen to me. And okay, fine. But that's the goof mitzad itself. But what? The goof can come to a point where it's not what it talks about. Right? What does it talk about? You, other things, the Eibishter, mitzvahs, Torah, whatever it talks about. But that takes some work. But when that work happens, so then there's a yichud aman ban in that person. So the goof and the neshama work together. Together with whom? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So there's istachtus shel nishmasei v'gufei, right? There's a unity of them on mitzad echad, but once there's a unity of them, so then there's a unity of the two of them, im HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shlucha shel Adam ha'elyon k'meisei. The shlucha of a person, who's that person? Adam elyon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. K'meisei is like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ad k'meisei mamish. Till is k'meisei mamish she'inyan ha'sheni b'shaliach, which is the complete bittul of the shaliach. So mitzad echad, the shaliach has to have his own keiches. He has to use his own keiches. No one tells him how to do his shlichus. There's basic guidelines what to do. No one tells him how. Right? He has to figure that out himself. Now that doesn't mean he has to reinvent the wheel. He talks to people and verbrangs or whatever he has to do in order to figure out what's the way to do it. But then he implements that. What's he doing? Yichud ma'an. So shlichus itself is all yichud ma'an. V'lochein ha'Eliezer begeder shaliach dafka. Therefore, Eliezer was dafka shaliach. Kedei lifalas nesui Yitzchak and Rivka. How do you bring about the nesuyim of Yitzchak and Rivka? Shaliach. What's a shaliach? The yichud of ma'an ban. Avraham Avinu tells Eliezer, okay, go over there and find Yitzchak a wife. How? I don't know. Figure it out. So Eliezer goes over there. Right. Mitzad Eliezer's ban, he doesn't want this to work, right? Because he's got a daughter back home that maybe she can marry Yitzchak. Okay. But Mitzad is ma, so he puts all of his keiches into this. And he figures out this plan that we hear about. And the plan works. And he's so excited. He is so excited that this works. Like he doesn't know what to do, and he falls on his face, right? Mamash, everybody in the Chumash is busy falling on their face all the time, right? He falls on his face. We don't fall on our face like so much. We do other things. We jump up and down. They all fell on their face. So he falls on his face, and he's like, wow, you're just unbelievable. Why? Yichud ma'an. His plan worked. V'lochen ha'Eliezer begeder shaliach dafka kidei lifos nesui Yitzchak v'Rivka. Shechein etzel shaliach, because by a real shaliach, he is a shlemus. There's the wholeness shel yichud ma'alban. Shemetzias shaloi nases k'meisei l'mishalech. That his metzias, his own existence, not bevatel his existence, he's illuminates his existence so that it expresses his bittul to the Eibishter. Shemetzia shalei naases k'meisei d'mishaleach. Mashen ken shadchan. Again, the Rebbe mentions it. A shadchan. What's a shadchan all about? A shadchan will figure that he's got to do this, and it's all him, and not that he's not trying to do a good thing. But they always say in Lubavitch, there's no room for stars. There's no stars in Lubavitch. Why? Because there's one sun and everybody else is a moon reflecting the light of the sun. There's no stars. Anybody who wanted to be a star had to leave Lubavitch. And there's been people who left. Right? People who were, they wanted to be stars. Okay, so they left Lubavitch. They couldn't. There was no room for them in Lubavitch, and Lubavitch couldn't handle them. Not handle them they weren't appreciated in Lubavitch. They wanted to be appreciated as a star. Well, no one's going to appreciate you as a star in Lubavitch. There is a star. Right? If you're being a proper moon, you're reflecting the light of the sun, Amazing. You might even get a compliment. Who knows? It's hard to tell. You might. At least people won't be mavatal you. Okay. But if you want to be a star, people have no patience for you. There's been a couple. Right? They end up with their own radio shows and stuff. Okay, beseder, but they're not Lubavitch. They're not connected to the Rebbe. Why? Because they're just... That doesn't mean they're not doing good things. They're doing amazing things. But if you want to be a shaliach, then you have to realize I'm not going to be a star. Doesn't mean you don't do good things. Even as the non-star. You do amazing things, incredible things. Based on this, it's understood also. Madua Nasan Avram. Now we understand why Avram Nasan Kol Sheleh. This was our original question. How can it be Nasan? Avram Avinu gave everything he owns to Yitzchak. That's neged halacha. He needs to eat. He can't give everything. L'milu shlichazu, in order for this shlichus to be fulfilled, which is Nesui Yitzchak and Rivka. Shechein, why? Yichud shel man ban. This unity of man ban. Sheshleimusei tia begula mitzvah v'shleima. The ultimate yichud of man ban will be when Mashiach comes. Chayvek embraces as kol inyanim shel kol seder ishtalshelus. All the different aspects of all of seder ishtalshelus. V'kol Torah mitzvah. It's all this. Rabbi said it's all the yichud man ban. It's all this shidduch. Everything in all of reality is being expressed in this shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka. So it has a parsha unto itself, and the whole parsha takes place. How? What's the whole parsha about? Shlichus. Because how is it that it's brought about in Elam Hazeh? How is it we bring about a Yichud Man Ban? What was the Eibishter's Ratzon? Why the Eibishter's Ratzon was this way? Who knows? But what is the Eibishter's Ratzon? That it's dafka through Shlichus, the Shlichus of a neshama in a goof, that you bring about the Yichud of Man Ban. Why? Because the Etzem Metzias of the neshama in a goof is a Yichud of Man Ban. The Etzem Metzias of every single Yid is a Yichud of Man Ban. And the Eibishter wants that the Yid should bring about a revelation of Eibishter and Elam Hazeh. What's that? That's the Yichud of Man Ban. There has to be a Ban, which is the lower realms, but there has to be a revelation of Ma in that Ban, which is the Dir B'Tachtonim. And how do you bring that about? Shlichus. Why? Because Shlichus is the ultimate expression of the Yichud Man Ban. Mitzad Echad, the Shliach is completely bottled to the Mishalech. Mitzad Sheni, the Shliach is a human being with his own intellect and his own creativity and his own particular characteristics and character traits. And so his Shlichus is going to happen in a way that's relevant to who he is, what he is, how it works. So some shluchim, it's going to be more rah, a lot of energy, jumping up and down, dancing on tables. And other shluchim, it'll be a little more cerebral and more Chassidus. And why? People are like that. Now, the guy who's very cerebral, what does he have to do now and then? He has to jump up on a table and roll in the hummus. And the guy who's all about rolling in the hummus, you should sit and teach some Chassidus now and then. No, don't you think every now and then you should teach some Chassidus, right? Why? Well, because that's what the Rebbe wants, right? Okay, so teach Chassidus. What else does the Rebbe want? He wants Yidden to enjoy Yiddishkeit. Okay, so get up on the table and dance and right, have a good time. Oh, but I don't like doing that. Get out of yourself and do it. Right? It's not easy. Some people are better at mitzvayim. Some people are better at this. Okay, say that. What do? You do whatever has to be done because it has to be done. And if I have a hard time doing one or the other, okay, that's fine. That's perfectly reasonable because everybody's different. But that doesn't mean I don't do it, because if I don't do it, that means I'm doing it for myself and not for the overall plan, so to speak. Or the Rebbe as a chassid, the Eibishter. Therefore, lochein nosen Avram lifnei kol, lifneichen, before this, kol asher everything. Ubefrat, particularly, shegam hakoyach, also the power, lifol es yichud ma'aban, kefishin is galav matan Torah, the ability, the potential to bring about this yichud of ma'aban, as it was revealed at Matan Torah, Bami Avram, ultimately comes from Avram. It all starts with Avram Avinu. What gives Eliezer the koyach to do what he did? Eved Avram Avinu. Eved Avram Avinu. Who are you? I'm a shliach Lubavitcher Rebbe. Okay, see? That's what Eliezer said, and that's how Eliezer gets the kayach to do whatever it is that he does. That doesn't mean that the stars don't accomplish things. They're stars. They have unbelievable kayachs. But the kayachs are coming from the ban of it, not from the ma of it. There's a lot of amazing kayachs in ban, right? Ban's pretty impressive. The world is an impressive place. You can do some amazing things in the context of the world. But the ultimate purpose is to get all of those kayachs of the neshama to shine through that. And then it works. Okay. We're going to stop. I have no idea what happened to the people in Bangladesh, because this is what my screen looks like. And it's looked like that the whole time. The orientation is on. It's not locked, but whatever.
This is kind of a new concept of saying that it begins with Matan Torah and it begins back with Eliezer getting restricted.
Well, it begins with Avram Avinu, that we know. And here the Rebbe is simply explaining why